Yerevan, Armenia at the World Congress of IT with none other than Alexis Ohanian, the co-founder of Reddit and Initialized. Alexis, great to have you with us today, and welcome back to Armenia.
Great to be here, great to be back.
So Alexis, let's start with Armenia. We're here.
Yes.
I mean, you've been coming to Armenia regularly for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
What's your view of how the Armenian tech ecosystem has evolved, and what's exciting you right now?
You know, I first came here in 2010. I just left Reddit for the first time. I was volunteering actually here. I lived here for 4 months with Kiva. And back then, you know, I gave a few talks to interested folks. I would have dinners with startup founders, but the ecosystem was so much smaller, so much earlier. And then now having come back 6 or so times since, almost every other year, I've watched it just grow and grow and grow over the last decade, not just in size, but also savviness and quality. And I mean, especially now in the last year, I was here just after the revolution, and just in the time since then, it has been an amazing shift. We hosted a dinner last night for a couple dozen Armenian founders. Talking about their startups. We just off the record kind of AMA session. And it was so great to see. And I know if I had done that same dinner even a few years ago, far fewer attendees. And I love seeing it.
It's great to, and I think you're right, the ecosystem is growing quite a lot.
Yes.
You know, even in Armenia recently, you launched your own brand of Armenian brandy,
Yes,
Shakmat, which I find amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us the story behind that. Why are you so excited about Armenian brandy?
You know, I'd actually been working with a company called Flaviar for a while, and they are spirits experts. And I had talked to them about Armenian cognac, brandy, but Armenian cognac, and they knew about it and they loved it, and they posed an interesting question, which is, why do you think more Americans don't know about it? And I thought, all right, well, that's something I can help solve. I know how to. I've got a platform. Every Armenian, you know, we brag about the quality of our country's cognac, and so I thought, all right, let me create something. We'll do it for the holidays, limited run, and we sold out of this 23-year Shakmat brandy, and then we also did it in partnership with the Armenia Tree Project, so that a portion of the proceeds of every bottle are donated to plant trees here and reforest. So we know we're using trees in order to create the casks, in order to make Shakmat, but we wanted this to be something that actually helps reforest Armenia as well, and introduce people to some amazing juice. Like I'm so proud when I get to pour a glass for an American friend of mine who's never had it before, and have that be their introduction to Armenia. It's a point of great pride.
I look forward to trying it. That's for sure.
I'm sending you guys a case. We don't make it easy to get to Hong Kong, but we're going to get it to y'all.
Look forward to that. But let's talk. You know that obviously the topic this year, you know, at WCIT is decentralization. And obviously you've been a very early advocate of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So I want to focus a bit on that. I mean, especially I want to get your views on what are the big trends you're watching right now in the broader blockchain and crypto scene right now.
It has been amazing to watch. We've been in this space. So Initialized first invested in Coinbase, which is our first crypto investment in 2011. So we were one of their earliest investors. That obviously has done well. But we've invested subsequently in other crypto companies and are more excited than ever about the space. Most recently, actually, a company called Bison Trails was one of the few sort of launch partners with Libre. They build infrastructure to help deploy. And what I've seen in the last, call it 2 years, has given me so much confidence, because during the crash, all of the charlatans, or most of the charlatans, most of the get-rich-quick folks left, and the people who remained interested in blockchain were the ones who were building, the ones who were earnestly shipping software, and that's what's going to actually make this thing work. It needs to be a better user experience. It needs to actually solve problems, or else it's just a fun idea.
And also, I mean, you're mentioning Coinbase. I mean, the industry is becoming increasingly institutionalized. We're seeing obviously a lot of big banks come in, a lot of big players. Do you think that's a positive or a negative for the industry?
The crypto anarchist in me is like, no, that's bad. But the realist is, I think it would be naive to think that something could be globally adopted and not have buy-in from institutions. And so on the one hand, I do welcome it. I think at the same time, the same energy that allows something like Coinbase to thrive and be a multi-billion-dollar company is the same energy that's going to help the sort of more ambitious unrestrained projects that will exist in the ecosystem. So it's mutually beneficial. They have a kind of symbiotic relationship that requires, basically, you can't be a pirate if you don't have a navy to like rebel against. And so there needs to be that institutionalized navy so that the pirates know where they stand relative to it. So I think in a weird way they help one another.
And what about Libre? You mentioned Libre. I mean, do you think it's there's obviously a lot of talk around that. It's a positive, negative, and what do you think is going to happen with Libre?
I really wonder. You know, I watched the entire or most of the congressional hearing around it, and sometimes there were questions that I thought were very thoughtful and really good. Then there were other questions where I was like, did no one prep you? And that hurt because these are such important questions that need to be asked, that we need our people in power to be educated enough to ask the right things. I think, look, globally, there is a certain inevitability to a digital currency or currencies. And we know China or Chinese companies are working towards this. They're already, I mean, they are leaps and bounds ahead of us in the West when it comes to mobile payments. And I mean, cash, physical paper cash is a thing of the past in China. And so I think what we need to do now is have a global context for how we feel. And so I don't think the idea of Facebook or one company having a global currency is a great thing. I also don't think one country having a global currency, especially one that has a history about surveillance, is itself a de facto great thing. And so the answer is, these are all very, very complicated, and I would rather see more choice than less. And that's where I'm at on this.
So you mentioned now, obviously, China and the US. What about emerging markets? What do you think the impact blockchain, but especially cryptocurrencies, I mean, you mentioned before central bank digital currencies could have on emerging markets?
Dude, it's massive. And this was a big part of what I was hyped to talk about today, which is a country like Armenia that is landlocked, that has fairly hostile neighbors, no natural resources, et cetera, like, will benefit so much from a world where even something like remittances cost far, far less to move. And they should. There's no reason technologically why it should cost as much as it costs to send money back from Russia, for instance. And so that is massive, not just for money coming in the form of remittances, but it's also massive for entrepreneurs looking to monetize whatever they do. And PixArt's a fun one because they've come up, Armenian based, and they've come up with a variety of creative ways to make money that is sort of in line with their community and those ideals. It would not surprise me, because we know talent is universally distributed, that as we get more and more of these blockchain-based solutions, whether it is a digital artist in Yerevan who wants to make money from something she designed and sells, or someone who's starting a startup, both of them are going to benefit from this new, better, cheaper, faster way to make money and prove ownership and authorship. And that's exciting, because there's always been a promise of it. And I think for smaller nations in particular, there should be, and I think there often is, a hesitation to want to buy into bigger systems, because you end up usually just being ignored or exploited or taken advantage of, et cetera. And so there is a kind of a spiritual alliance for a smaller developing nation with all things blockchain. And that, I think that ethos is why it's going to thrive here.
A lot of exciting stuff. But I want to finish up with one of your personal side as well. Obviously, you had a daughter 2 years ago.
I did.
And one topic you talk a lot about paternity breaks and a lot of the personal elements around that. I mean, so I want to ask you, for a lot of the entrepreneur dads, just having a kid, what's your take on taking paternity breaks, and if you think they should do it, even though it may be negatively impact their business?
They should do it, and I think it will not negatively affect the business, and here's why. And this is one of the things I didn't even understand until I was doing it myself, which is these paternity leave plans are not all at once. They are designed to be taken as your family needs it. So if you're on your 5th kid and you know what you're doing and you only need a week, that's fine. But you should have, I believe at least every American, I can't speak for other countries, but every American should have the opportunity to take more time. And I mean, we have someone right now at Initialized who, a dad who's a partner, who split out his time so that he could basically come back to work for a month and then be off for all of the holidays, take a month off.
Nice.
And another parent could maybe just take off every Friday and work a 4-day week and then have a 3-day weekend because that's what their partner needs in order to help balance childcare.
Yeah.
No one's business should suffer because of that. And on the contrary, we know what a talent war it is right now. The value of a great employee is so worth it when it comes to retention, and not to mention then having to recruit a replacement if they decide to leave, that I think paternity leave is going to become one more weapon in the arsenal for how to attract and retain the best talent. And once they have that expectation, that's never going back. It becomes the new standard because every company wants the best. And the best people are going to expect this, and so I
that's
think
the message for CEOs out there. Make paternity break.
And take advantage of it too. And look, like I said, I'm not trying to prescribe the amount of time one takes. I just want everyone to have the option, and then also to stress that it can be flexibly used, which makes all the difference, especially for us dudes, because I think actually the business and the family are better off when you can dip in when it's necessary, because you can clear your brain from all the baby stuff and go to work for a bit, but then still know that your castle is secured and you can do your best work when you're in the office.
Absolutely.
And that's all it's about.
Well, we're going to finish it off with the bell that's followed us all the way here.
Woo,
so I'm going to ask you, Alex, really a couple of quick questions, and then it'll be really 1 or 2 word answers on that. So we're going to go very quickly on it.
Lightning. All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So first question is, one piece of advice that you give to an entrepreneur today. If there's one piece of advice, what would that be?
One piece of advice, ship. Ship it. You want a one-word answer? Yeah.
What is the one industry, a part of crypto, that is really exciting you today?
Gaming. If I buy a Fortnite skin, I should own that Fortnite skin. And if I want to trade it to you for a special sword in a different game, I should be able to do that.
Yeah, a lot of non-fungible token activity there as well. Great to have you. Great question. This is a funny one. You have a choice between choosing one of these co-founders. Who do you choose? You can choose only one.
Okay.
Jack Ma, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, or Kim Kardashian. Who do we choose and why?
Okay. Wait, but Steve Jobs is not alive.
Well,
Steve
Jobs
alive.
Imaginary
not like zombie Steve Jobs. Okay. And then wait, who's the first one? Jack Ma?
Jack Ma, Zuckerberg, Jobs, Kardashian.
I think it would either be Jack or Kim. Both because their skill sets are so complementary to me, and basically they are very strong in the things in which I am weakest. And I think a great co-founder partnership has that alignment. So whether it's doing business in China with Jack and a lot of brilliant AI ML work there, or understanding the value and power of brand and influence with Kim.
Pretty power team, that is for sure.
Yeah.
Next one. Since being with Serena, has your tennis skills improved?
No, I've never I've never picked up a tennis racket, and I never will. Unless maybe my daughter wants to learn, and then I'll take lessons with her, but no, I'll never. No.
Talk about daughter. What is the favorite children's book you have for Olympia, or favorite toy children's book?
We need to have a Quay book one of these days, but we don't. Right now, The Giving Tree, which I know is a really contentious one, is one of my favorite books to read.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who's better at changing diapers, you or Serena?
I was early on because I think I had a kind of Zen-like ability to just get through it. I feel like now Olympia is on pull-up mode, and I don't think it really counts because it's a lot less work. But Serena, because you don't have to do the actual applying, but Serena does a much better job getting Olympia to just help pull them up. So.
What's keeping you up at night except the baby? What else is keeping you up at night?
What else is keeping me up at night? All the companies that I don't feel like I'm doing enough for that are in the initialized portfolio that I still just want to help and help be successful.
And last question, Alexis. We're here in Armenia. For everybody around the world watching this, if there's one Armenian dish they have to try, what is that dish?
I mean, okay, I know this gets so contentious. Lamajun is I feel like such a great, especially with santan, is just a great, satisfying meal. Khachapuri is the one that I was most jonesing for, even though it's technically Georgian. And that one's guaranteed for a nap after. But dolma will always be, that's my number one.
So
I basically lived off of dolma as a little kid. And to this day, I see grape leaves and I get excited because they're just...
Excellent.
Delightful.
Alexis, thank you very much. Good to have you with us today. Thank you very much, guys.